Okay, welcome to our shiur. Our Gemara shiur Shabbos Kuf Yud Kuf Yud Ches Amud Beis. Kuf Yud Ches Amud Beis. We are learning about all types of basically mitzvahs and Anhogas Toivis and Maisim Toivim that Rabbi Yossi is telling us is basically emphasizing. Rabbi Yossi emphasized all kinds of good traits or good minhagim that he himself did in order to promote the idea. For example, he saw that people are weak in regarding eating shol shudas, so he said, I'm proud, I'm happy that my part, my share, shall be with those who eat shol shudas. He ate shol shudas, making a campaign. Wow, shol shudas is great, and I do it, and everyone should do it. That's basically the idea, according to the Maharsha. When we finish that list of Yehechelki, as I promised, we're going to mention a very nice riff that gives a twist on the whole idea. Bezos Hashem, we're going also to learn so many things are going to be mentioned in today's shir, like lots and lots of different points. Bezos Hashem, only ask for Siyata Dishmaya. You can deliver the beautiful words of the Torah. The shir is Leidin Nishmat Sovi Morim Nachem Ben Akiva, Rus Bat Shalom Sol Bas Moshe Latzlochas Kol Bnei Yisrael B'chol Mokim Shehem. The Omar Rabbi Yossi Yechelki Mimeise B'chol Emayim. Line starts with the word B'choilei. Rabbi Yossi is wishing upon himself unbelievable death through Choil Emayim. Yeah, it says that tzaddikim they die with Choil Emayim. The Gemara in Ksuba says when it talks about the death of Rebbe Kodesh, it says that the way tzaddikim die is Choil Emayim, the diseases of the stomach. My own father-in-law, for 13 years, he suffered from whatever cancer in that part of the body, and he died with Yisurim, was a Bemes Tzaddik. So, Yechel ki meisi b'chol mayim. Domar mar, as we say, Ruben shel tzadiki meisi b'chol mayim. In other words, although it's painful, Rabbi Yossi is asking upon himself to have Yisurim. Yisurim that eventually will get him to Olam Haba. Also, Chol Ma'ayim shows that he cleanses himself from taivas. Yeah, in other words, the taivas of the body, the me'ayim, the presenting the taiva, are cleaned. Yeah, that's what Rabbi Yossi wishes upon himself, and that's before the pshat of the Rif. Rabbi Yossi, another request of Rabbi Yossi, Yeheh chelki mimesei b'derech mitzvah. I wish I would be zoiche to be one of those who die on the way to a mitzvah. And that, of course, is difficult, because we know that shluch mitzvah and nizoikim. So I saw different miforshim. He's not asking that, I go into an Arab village to save a girl and then I'll die because they're going to shoot me. He's asking that when I anyhow am supposed to die, when my time will come, when I'll be 82 and a half, whatever, then I'll be oisik b'mitzvah. Meaning the moment of my death, I'll be b'derech mitzvah. I'll be in a derech, on the mindset and the wavelength of mitzvah. When I die, I shouldn't be caught in a bad place or in a parv kind of place. My death basically shows where I am, who I am. At that most crucial moment of death, I want to be involved with a mitzvah. That's what he was saying. Rabbi Yossi, now back to Shabbos, says Rabbi Yossi, Yechel ki mimachnis Shabbos beTveria u'matzei Shabbos beTzipoiri. I'd like to be with those who bring in Shabbos in Tveria and bring out Shabbos in Tzipoiri. There are a few explanations here. The classical one is, of course, Rashi. Rashi says that Tveria, as we know, today Tveria is already also up in the mountain, but the classical Tveria, the ancient Tveria, was, down the slope, like below the mountain. So there, Shkia, right, was early, right? For them, the Shkia setting behind the mountain, right, is earlier than if you're top of the mountain. They stop seeing the sun earlier than others. Mm-hmm. Sure. They're here and the sun already goes down there before it really goes down all the way behind the mountain, right? So basically, on Tveria, naturally, Shkia is early, so they bring in Shabbos earlier, right? In their calendar, Shabbos comes in earlier. Motzei Shabbos b'Tzipoiri. Tzipoiri, some achronim say Tzipoiri Tzfas. There's such an opinion. Tzipoiri was in a mountain, not far from Tveria, and therefore, in Tzipoiri, Dafka, the Shkia was late. So Motzei Shabbos in Tzipoiri was late. Basically saying that Tveria bringing Shabbos is early. I'd like to bring in Shabbos early, like the people at Tveria, and bring Shabbos and take out Shabbos late, like Tzipoiri. Another pshat is that Tveria, they would bring besomim at the entrance of Shabbos, and Tzipori would bring in besomim when Shabbos would leave. In honor of the coming of the Shabbos was a minik Tveria. Minik Tzipori was besomim, like of Dolo or beyond of Dolo as Shabbos comes out. I'd like to do both. I want to respect and honor Shabbos in its way in with a good smell and on its way out. I'd like to hold the stick in both ends to show Shabbos covered in both ends. V'amar Rabbi Yossi, another statement, Yeheh chelki mimoshive beis hamidrash v'lo mimamide beis hamidrash. Yeah, which means I'd like to be one of those who bring in people. Moishiv is not yoshvei. If you know your dikduk, lehoishiv is to seat others. Mamid is to make others stand. I'd like to be one of the bochrim, the gaboim, who bring in everybody that making sure, like the mashgiach, that they sit and learn. I would not like to be one of those who call the bochrim and tell them stop learning, and go to eat. Apparently, back then you needed such people. Today, don't need them. Yeah, yeah. Those who tell the bochrim, oh, it's enough to Begdol Yisrael. It says Begdol Yisrael. The wives have to stop them, come and eat. Otherwise, they wouldn't have eaten. They would just learn the whole day. Yeah. So, although both are important, I want to be one of those who bring in the people to learn and not take them out, although it's important. Rabbi Yossi, yeah. So it says Rabbi Yossi, another statement. Rabbi Yossi, Yechelki mi gaboy tzedakah v'lo mi mechalke tzedakah, which means kupa shel tzedakah, generally speaking, consists of two bodies of people. Yeah, two types of people, two jobs. The megaboy tzedakah are those who collect the tzedakah. Collecting the tzedakah, apparently, that's one group. They collect. They come and collect from people. Not easy, but that's a job. Mechalke tzedakah are those who have to decide who should get more, who should get less. They're in charge of make the distribution of the tzedakah. Says Rabbi Yossi, I'd rather be the gaboy tzedakah, such a nasty job. You're a shnoher. He prefers that over being the one who sits in the office of the kupa and decides who will get what. Why? To collect the tzedakah, not much decision is required. In other words, go collect from me, from that, from the rich guy, the poor guy. The shenken, the mechalke tzedakah, they have to be three people who are like based in. They have to decide who needs more, who needs less, and it's hard to know, right? Sometimes says Rashi, datam lerachem al zeh l'chalki yosim al tzorech. Sometimes you estimated people wrong, and it's true. You see a guy driving a nice car, maybe he's very poor, he's very stressed for money. Yisama has a nice car. And another guy, right, looks poor, but he has more money. He can't always tell, right? And therefore, because it's hard to judge, I would be scared. That's why the numbers are different. The Gemara says at the beginning of Basra Daf Ches, the Gemara says, to collect the tzedakah, you need two people to go together. Because one should look after the other, not to steal the money. But to give the tzedakah, you need three people, because it's based in. To give out tzedakah, you're making the din in the fashes. Giving this family 3,000 shekel, the other one 1,000, how do you know? So it needs a lot of chokhmah, and it's kind of a scary thing to do, a lot of responsibility. Obviously says, I wouldn't like to be that, to show how heavy is the responsibility of those people. Even I wouldn't like to do that, he says. V'amar B'yosi, says Rabbi Yossi, Yechel kimi mishechosh oiso ve'en boy, ay, very hard. I'd like to be one of those that are suspected, the people suspect them for Dvar Avera, ve'en boy, and they're not really Bala Avera. Why is that? In other words, I'd like to be suspected for doing something wrong and be bad in the eyes of people, while I'm not, well, I never really did Avera. Why? We always say, Ve'isam Nekim. The concept is that, I saw in the Mefoshim, it's Yisurim. It's a lot of Yisurim. Rabbi Yossi says, I'd like to have Yisurim in Olam Hazeh, not in Olam Haba. The biggest kapara is Busha. The Gaon in Vilna says that Busha is the biggest kapara because it's the Yisurim for the Neshama. So if I have that horrible frustration that people suspect me and I know that they're wrong, right? Although I'm supposed to always be clean and do my best not to be suspected, obviously. Marisayin. But if they suspect me, it's worth $1 million. As Perlstein says, we don't want Yisurim, but if we have them, it's $1 million because it's worth a Olam Haba. I mean, it gets you to a higher place in Olam Haba. And the worst Yisurim that are mental more than Yisur Aguf. That's what the Gaon says also. And here's the source. It's very terrible. People suspect you, and you know that they're wrong. That's the biggest kapara. Amar Rav Pope. Rav Pope on the same wavelength says, "Ledidi chashdan v'lo yahava bi." Yeah. They suspect me for things, and it's not true. People are wrong. I don't know what they suspected him, but Lamaise, he says, I'm clean, and people suspect me, and here I have Yisurim. Omarav Yoisi. Now, before we see the Rif, let's read a few more. The Omar Rabbi Yoisi, Chamesh Bilos Ba'alti. I had relations with my wife 5 times. Venotasi Chamisha Rozim Yisrael. And Baruch Hashem, in every Be'ila, I planted 5 arozim, like Erez Alvanon, the cedar tree, 5 important trees. And in other words, Sadik Katam Arifach, Erez Balavonoin. I basically, with 5 times I've been with my wife, I managed through that to bring 5 important Gdoilim to Klal Yisrael, 5 cedar trees. Uman Inun, who are they? Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, all Tanoim. Can you imagine be the father of 5 Tanoim? Wow. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Loza Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Chalafta Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Vtilas Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosi. Okay, that's nice. Frag the Gemara, Veika Vardimas. We know Rabbi Yossi had another son called Vardimas. Answers the Gemara, Ein Vardimas, Ein Menachem. Menachem and Vardimas were the same person. Really, his name was Menachem, but he was commonly known as Vardimas. Why did they call him Vardimas? That's an interesting name. Shapon of Doimin Leverid. He was beautiful, and his face looked like a rose. In other words, he had like a rosy cheek. You know, rosy cheeks. Roite Bekalach, as they say, right? In other words, he was, I'm sure it means something more spiritual, but yeah, he has like a vered, he had the beauty, the ruchnius of like a rose, yeah, Shoshana ben Achoichim, and therefore it's called Vardimas. Wait a second, are you sure only 5 times? Lamemra, is that to tell me the Rabbi Yossi mitzvos oina lokiem 5 times the entire life? Yeah, is not become mitzvos oina. Talmid Chacham once a week, a tile every day. The Gemara in Ksubas something there, Samich Aleph. Yeah. What about a guy who's a camel, who's a camel driver once 3 months? I think. What? Once a month could be right. Hefi or the Sapa and a sailor Hefi, but 5 times the entire life. What does it mean? It's not Mekayim Oina. Oina is a mitzvah d'oraisa. Answers the Gemara. Ela ema chamesh beilos ba'alti v'shaniti. In other words, of course, he had relations lefi the oina of the mitzvah of his wife, but there were out of the many times he's been with his wife, 5 times he had beila and shanisi and repeated the beila. He did the beila and repeated the beila because it says in Eruvin, whoever wants to have banim zechorim, whoever wants to have male children, should have beila and repeat the beila as soon as possible after the first time. That's what's going on here. That is one shot. Look at Tosfos, also endorsed by other Rishonim. Tosfos Ema Chamesh Bilos, the second Tosfos. Yeah, I want to first read the first Tosfos, taking us back to the stomachache. Yeah, to cleanse the averos. Yeah, similar to what I was saying, that to get rid of the gashmios. When it comes to Shamayim, they're clean like angels. So everyone agrees that, it's something to do with cleanliness, like you clean the body completely. Unfortunately, through Yisurim, we don't want Yisurim, but if they come, they purify the person. He comes to Shamayim like an angel, like a malach, not connected to the Gashmi so much. Now, Eima Chamesh Be'ilos Balti V'Shanisi. Second Tosfos, what's his business with Rabbi Yossi only having 5 times Be'ilah with his wife? The Yerushalmi argues with our Gemara. What did our Gemara say? He had Bia normally, I guess, once a week, with Talmud Chacham, Shabbos, something like that. What's 5 times? 5 times he had special kavanah to repeat, and that's why he had tremendous Talmid Chachamim with the kavanah of having Banim Zechorim. Yerushalmi Mishani, Yerushalmi answers, the Yavamas Soyu. He had, that, I don't know if it's 5 Yavamas. Some Rishonim say Yavamo. He had 5 Yavamas. Interesting. A lot of that in his family, I guess. And every Yavama, he only wanted to have 1 bia to be Mekayim the mitzvah, but not more. Why? Because Yavama, if he's interested in her, for her, right, then it's a shiloh of, as the Gemara says in Yavamas, of bordering on Koris. Because the sister-in-law, you're not allowed to have relations with. You're not allowed to marry her unless she's Yavama. The only reason why you're allowed to be over the mitzvah to be with your Yavama, the Kayim Shem Lochiv. Right? That's why today, according to Ashkenazim, we only do Chalitza. Because we're scared to do Yavama. The Gemara already mentions that. When you have Yibum, it's either a mitzvah or a vera. You like her, you're attracted to her, there's the physical side, which is normal. And then what happens? Your Rotzen is already not to become the mitzvah. So even though it's not chorus, of course, because she doesn't have children, but it schmecks of, not the right kavanah, so kilu a little bit noite to the Isur chorus side. It's not really chorus, yeah? Of course, Yavam and Yavam, according to Sfaradim, Shulchan Aruch, they can live together and be together. But there's a chash. So Rabbi Yossi was more machmir, and he said these were 5 Yavamas. Each one, he only had bia once to be Mekayim, the Hakoma Sazera. And so it was. Amazing children came from each time. And afterwards, he didn't end the beer with them. Maybe divorced them. I don't know. Interesting. L'shem Shamayim, yet tell me the Chacham. Now, I slept you for too long already, and I owe you the Rif. And what does the Rav say? Reb David, what are you saying?
How does the word fit in? Then,
just to stress again, it's a machloikas. Our Gemara, which is Bavli, says no. He was one wife, his regular wife. He had, relations with her normal, lefi the bia, lefi the oino, normal. 5 times out of, I don't know many, he repeated himself, right? He repeated and he had a rozim, he had a special chacham. That's the Bavli. The Yerushalmi says, no, we're talking here about Yavamos. I saw other Rishonim would say Yavamo. It was a Yavama, and he's only been with her every once in a while, not too much, not to fall into too much taivus, because with the Yavama, it's already shaila of, you're bordering on the other side, on the so-called of Eshes Ach. Okay, it's time for the Rif. So the Rif says as follows. Says the Rif like this. Nire, the Kolan Domer Rabbi Yossi, I'm reading inside from the Rif. Yechelki, you know what's the common denominator between all the Yechelkis that Rabbi Yossi is talking about? Right? Eating Shol Shudas, v'chule v'chule. All these things people think there's something wrong with it. Rabbi Yossi comes to promote it and say there's nothing wrong with those anhogas. Really, the anhogas are right. What do you mean? Not one. Shalosh sudas, salkadatach datoch dalet sudas. Maybe you have to make 4 sudas like a bchitka. So it says no. Don't be too much of a frumi. It's enough to have 3. Yeah, don't get too over the top. Now, what about Hallel? He says, say Hallel every day, which really means Psuke de Zimra. That's the point. People would say, since Hallel every day is Mechal for Megadef, maybe Psuke de Zimra is also wrong. Today, we're so programmed like robots from childhood, we're used to, Psuke de Zimra. Back then, it wasn't simple. It was a debate. And people thought maybe saying Psuke de Zimra every day is wrong. It's like saying Hallel every day. So he's promoting those debatable points. He says, no, I want to be one of those who say Psuke de Zimra. It is okay to say it. What about Dimdumei Chama? To daven what? To daven Gnetz or daven before Shkia? People thought it's wrong. Maybe it's right to dafka daven when it's clearly daytime, when you know that it's daytime. And by nighttime, maybe you have to daven only after nightfall, as we do. So he says, no, it's okay to daven early and okay to daven early both ways. It is, yes, okay. What about Meisim b'choyle me'ayim? Choyle me'ayim, people would say, choyle me'ayim? It's not a good thing halachically. Why? Ein gufri no kilius lovish tefillin. V'gam in tefillos hazdaka. En mispal shu metunah v'mezuam. Right? In other words, you would say, wait a second, his choyle me'ayim, excuse me, is not clean. He has all these tubes and this and dirt. They can't put in tefillin, and his davening is not good. He's davening beguf meluchlaf. So he says, no, that's not true. I would still like to be in that matzav of cholemayim because it's tzaddikim. Yeah, memartim avanoseim v'chule v'chule. Next one. What about chelkim imeisim b'derech mitzvah? The one who sees him dying while he's doing mitzvah will say he wouldn't know that he was supposed to die anyways. He'll say, shluchim mitzvah enim nizoikim, and he died. And the Gemara in Kiddushin says, when it could be that shluchim mitzvah are nizoikim, would add a bad avera, a bad machshava, machshava ra, shlechte machshava. Maybe, he was on the ways to do mitzvah, and it was mahar bekfira or znus. So you say, no, I would like to be the meisim b'derech mitzvah, and people shouldn't suspect me. V'chule v'chule. It's always on the flip side. That's the Rif's pshat here. Promoting those questionable points, showing everybody, no, these things are good. Yeah? That's the rif. Weiter. Okay. Oh, here's the one of the some people in Klal Yisrael. Omar Bioisi. Miyomai loy kariti ishti ishti. I never called my wife my wife. Uleshoiri shoiri. I never called my ox my ox. But ela leishti beisi. I called my wife beisi. Right? And veleshoiri sodi. Right? In other words, says Rashi, even the way he spoke sichas chulin, you can learn chokhmah. In other words, he calls his wife the house, the home, because she's the ikar of the home. I don't just see her as a wife, as a person. I see her more choshuv as somebody who's like one who infuses the ruchnias and everything and what's needed in the house. Just like my show is my sode. In other words, if I have a good show, roiv tvuos b'koyach shor, it says. The more, when you want to have a lot of tvua, a lot of produce, if you have a strong show. Yeah, in other words, the bull is what really brings the power into the field, like the woman to the house. So I'm seeing beyond them, I see what they do for me and what they present in the bigger spectrum. That's the message of calling his wife the bias. Omar Bioisi, miyomer lo nistakalti b'mila sheli. I was very tsanua and never looked at my own bris milah. Okay, that's a very praiseworthy thing. You're not supposed to because of tznias. Fragt the Gemara, Eini, is that so? Rabbi HaKodesh, they asked him, my time to call Rabbeinu HaKodesh. Why is it people call you Rabbeinu HaKodesh? Did you notice that? Rabbi is called Rabbi HaKodesh. Why not Rabbi Akiva HaKodesh? I think he was a very great man. Why not Rabbi Yossi HaKodesh? Why not Rabbi Tafan HaKodesh? Yeah, certain people call them a Kodesh. Rabbeinu HaKodesh. Why? Why do you grant that title, Rabbeinu HaKodesh? Amar Lahu, he told them, I never, same answer. I never looked at my bris milah, therefore I am Kodesh. Wait a second. If so Rabbi Yossi should be called Kodesh. If those who don't look at their own bris milah are called Kodesh, well, this club has two people, Rabbi and Rabbi Yossi. So why is Rabbi Yossi not called a Kodesh? We are Rabbi Yossi's lawyers over here, yeah? Rabbi Yossi's rights. Answers the Gemara, Rabbi Nisach Risi Avabei. Rabbi had another level of kedusha that Rabbi Yossi didn't. He never put his hand from the avneit, from the gartel down, from the belt down. He never placed his hand over there, which ikar din is okay for a married person. I actually learned it recently. It was machmir, so he has 2 milas. Nobody else does. He never looked at the milah, and he never touched his, never went below the chagura, below the belt. So he has 2 milas, Rebbe, and that's what's called a Kodesh. Rabbi Yossi only had 1 mila out of those 2. Rabbi Yossi would put his hand down when he had to, and therefore it wasn't called Kodesh. Rabbi Yossi, another tznius issue. Rabbi Yossi, the walls of my house, the beams of my house, never saw the inside stitches of my clothes, my chaluk, my inner clothes, which means when I got dressed, I always got dressed b'tznius. I never took off my clothes like that, so they see the inside of the clothes. I would always undress under the blanket. And the Mishnah Berurah says that's what you're supposed to do. They say there's a kula to get undressed in the toilet, because there anyhow you're naked. But other than that, people are supposed to keep tznius indoors. You have to be covered more or less the same way you are. Outdoors, you have to be covered indoors. You not wear your jacket, you wear your t-shirt maybe, but you have to be covered. Even when you get undressed, it has to be b'tznius. You don't just get undressed in the middle of the room just like that, not even at night. And that's halacha. That's actually halacha in Mishnah. V'omar b'yosi, miyomer lo avarti al divrei chaverai. I never, not argued, I never disobeyed my friends. Oh, here we are. If my friends asked me to do something, I always try to do my best and basically go along with them, right? And agree with them and follow what they tell me. For example, Yadani ba'atzmi sheni kohen. I know I'm not a kohen. I checked it. I know that I'm not a kohen. I don't have that genealogy of a kohen. And yet, im oimrim li chaverai alel duchan ani oile. And yet, if my friends tell me, Rabbi Yossi, get up there to the duchan, we want birkas kohanim, I would go up to the duchan, nevertheless, even though I know I'm not a kohen, because that's what my friends want me to do. That's very interesting. So now it sounds like Zok Tosfos. Let's see Tosfos asking the question from the other side. Third Tosfos. Oh, today is the day to do Tosfos. Ido yomrim li chaver leduchan. Zok the third Tosfos. Lo yadarim ha'isur esh bezar leduchan. On the contrary, we think it's a big avera for a zar to go to the duchan. Says he, I don't know what's the problem with the zar going to the duchan im lo mishum brocha levatala, except for maybe brocha levatala. That's an issue. You can't say brocha asher kichanu, right? The kedushos shel Amoraim. And no, shel koyanim amoter levarachas Yisrael. Yeah, in other words, the Torah told koyanim to bench Yisrael and not other people. But really, there's no issue here. That's what Tosfos is asking. So maybe the issue is brocha levatala. Tosfos Rosh actually argues with Tosfos and brings down Gemara from, I think, Subas from somewhere, I think, and it says, no, it's mashma from other Gemaras that it is osur for Israelim to come, they're over Baaseh, maybe that, Amor Lahem, Veloli B'nai Yisrael, something like that. Tell the Kohanim, excluding B'nai Yisrael. So if you or I go to the Duchen, it is a problem. If so, why would Rabbi Yossi go up there? Why would he go there? Because his friends tell me, my friends tell me, to Chazir. What do you mean? So says, it's Loshen Guzma. It doesn't mean that he would do that. He would say, up to that. He didn't mean literally that. He said, I try to be as friendly as possible and easygoing as possible. That would be just about what I would do. Although he didn't really mean that. Up to that. That would be like the only thing I wouldn't do. Mashu kazeh. It's like magzim. But other than that, if people ask you to do something, you don't have to be difficult. Yeah, if there's no reason to say no, so say yes to your friends. Which means, I never said something about other people and looked back to see, oh, he heard me. Which means, what Pashup Pshat is what? I never really looked back to see I never spoke about whoever Ploni Almoni Sprincelovsky and think, is he hearing me? Because I never said anything against anyone. That's Pashup Pshat. Rashi says otherwise. Rashi says, listen to a very, very interesting detail in Shmiras HaLoshon. Rashi, lo emarti dovo, more or less where we are, a little bit above. Sheim ba'mi shemarti olav dover v'sholim emarti ken olav. Let's say I did say something about someone, which be Lashon Hara To'eles, right? And he asked me, did you say this about me? What would we do? No, I didn't mean, you mean, right? We would try and get out of it. Yes, I stood by my word. If I found it necessary to say something about someone, I was a man, and I did not actually regret or try to garnish the truth. Why? Are you saying Lashon Hara? I said the truth to begin with. Truth is also Lashon Hara. Sagt Rashi, v'kasova kol milsa de misaba ba'pei moro leisba mishum lishna bisha. Obviously held of an opinion that says that if you say something in someone's presence, by the way, there's such an opinion on Locha. We're used to Chofetz Chaim, so we don't pass there is such an opinion. If you say something against someone in his presence, Rav Hutener, I think, brings it down. There is such a shit in Rishonim Nechonim, it's not Lashon Hara. Maybe it's insulting. Maybe it's an Easter of an Dvorim. I don't know if it's good. But if you say something to someone and he's present, I say to you about you in your present, I'm not behind the back. It's not backbiting. It's not Lashon Hara. And that's what he held. He held, if I stand by what I say and I'm not hiding it behind his back, that's fine. He doesn't define that as Lashon Hara. I'm not Khalil Poisek, I'm not a Poisek at all, but there is such an opinion, and that's what Rabbi Yossi held. If I stand by what I say, did you say that I'm, I don't know, that I don't daven nicely? Yeah, I did. In other words, you should learn your lesson. I hold that way, and you should learn. His Rabbi Yossi is giving Musar. And that's not called Lashon Hara. That was his Shita. Weiter. Now, Omar Rav Nachman, here comes another set of, up until now, there was one long list of what? Long list of Rabbi Yossi talking about himself, and there's a whole list of Yehechelki. Now we're going to see a list of several Amoraim, different Amoraim, each one saying Teisi Li. We're going to see what's Teisi Li. Yeah, what's Teisi Li? Amar Nachman. Teisi Li, according to Rashi later, means I will get Sachar. Yeah, I know that I'm going to get Sachar in Shemaim. One of the Meforshim here, I forget who says what, says that each tzaddik, no, the Ritva. What do you mean someone? The Ritva says, unbelievable. It's in the Rishonim. I always thought it's a Netziv or Achronim, we learned it in school. The Ritva says every person should have one mitzvah that should be his prized mitzvah. Really, you're supposed to become all the mitzvahs, but you should also have your crown mitzvah, which is your thing, which is your kind of special, cherished, beloved mitzvah, and could be that was theirs. We're going to see each Amoraim is like saying that's my my chosen one. Okay, and Hogas mitzvahs. Let's see. Tasili the kaimis gimel sudas b'Shabbos. Oh, it's my schar will be that I was mekayim gimel sudas on Shabbos, as we just saw. It's a big thing, right? You saved from all the trouble. Amar Yuda tasili the kaimis iyun tefila. What's iyun tefila? Iyun tefila that I daven b'chavana. Now says Tosfos, don't get that wrong. Iyun tefillah is sometimes good, sometimes not good. The Gemara in Baruch says that iyun tefillah is not a good thing, and it's mekatza yoma. It says, let's look a little bit at Tosfos. Pirush b'chavana salev v'chule v'chule. Had Omer Baruch says me'an b'tfilos stop b'al yedei kev lev. I iyun de mitzape mates HaKadosh Baruch b'kashosoi shestov v'shetfilos mekubeles. Which means, yeah, when it says that iyun tefillah is a good thing, tefillah b'chavana salev, that's good. But the Gemara in Brocha speaks a few times against Iyun Tefillah, and it said against Iyun Tefillah, saying Iyun Tefillah brings you to heartache. That's Iyun Tefillah that his Me'ayin is looking. No, I davened for $10 million yesterday. Where are they? Where are the 10 million? How come they didn't drop from Shemaim? He thinks HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu is what is an ATM. Shalom, yeah? Is a Coke machine. Boom. It doesn't work like that. Tefillah has many intricate, I don't know about it, Sinaris in Shamayim, right? It's not a, cashback kind of program. You have to have the right kavanah, the right schus. Hashem is listening to the tefillah and gives you another thing. The thing may not be good for you. Hashem answered you, and the answer is no. There are many, many cheshbonos. So iyun tefillah means I'm looking at me'ayin. I'm like, look, no, where are the results? No, quick. It doesn't work like that. And if you work that way, that's wrong. The iyun tefillah of me being submissive to Hashem, that's a good iyun tefillah. He's not serving me, I'm serving him. That's tefillah. Hashem is not supposed to serve me, I'm supposed to serve him in tefillah. And therefore, that's right iyun tefillah. And this is what he's saying over here, and that is Rav Yehuda. Now, Omar Avuna B'Edav Yeshua, Tesili de los Sagidna Dal Dames V'Gilo Erosh. My schar is, my mitzvah is that I never walk Daled Ames with my head bareheaded. I never walk Daled Ames bareheaded, which means, so now it's all Isha and Halacha. Here it sounds like it's a special mitzvah. Not everyone's mechuyev to do it. That's how some people are in here. But Lamaisa, the Amoraim say that today nobody's supposed to walk Daled Ames with Begilui Rosh. Yeah, that was like then was more like the Chachamim, the Gedolim, and today apparently I don't know the whole sugya. There is a chiyuv to walk Bekisui Rosh. Although I'm not so sure. According to the Ritva, that's not true what I just said. The Ritva says that I'm connecting the Ritva to the Gemara that these things are mechuyev, like Shalshudas. He's saying that's my special thing. I have a lot of mitzvahs. This is I'm particularly careful about, more than other things. That's like my prized item of mitzvah. Yeah, I may have to take the call. Yeah, Amav Sheshes. Teisili the kaimis mitzvahs tefillin. Yeah, my mitzvahs tefillin, says Rashi, sheholach arba amis below tefillin. Oh, not only he wore tefillin every day, thank you, of course he did, says Rashi, went beyond, above and beyond, and he would never walk daled amis without tefillin. The entire day he would wear tefillin, which by the way is what we're supposed to do mikra din, right? And you'd never catch him without tefillin, except for in toilet, in the bathroom, but otherwise he'd be in tefillin all the time. Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman, teisili the kaimis mitzvahs tzitzis. My big thing is to mekayim tzitzis, meaning again, I was never caught, so to speak, daled ames without tzitzis, and that's true. In the halacha l'maaseh, you're not supposed to walk daled ames without tzitzis, even indoors. People don't know that. Indoors, you can't walk daled ames. You have to have a tzitzis the whole time. Yeah, not just wear your goofy wear the tzitzis all the time. That's halacha. Amar Rav Yosef Breder Rabba. Rav Yosef asked another. Rav Yosef Breder Rabba, Avuch b'maizot fei, yeah, is asking regarding his father, Rabba, your father, what's your father especially careful about? Of course, everything. What's his number one 5-star mitzvah? Amar le b'tzitzis. Tzitzis was his thing. Tzitzis keeps you from Yetzer Hara. And I'll tell you a story to prove the point. Yom Echad, one day, Av Kasalik B'Darga, he was going up the ladder or up the stairs, Ifsik lechuta, and one of the chutim, one of the strings of the tzitzis, snapped out, cut off all of a sudden, yeah, detached. So now he doesn't have 8, he only has 7 out of 8. Veloy nochis ve'oso, he didn't keep going down. He froze in the middle of the way, middle of the staircase, or middle of the ladder. He froze right there. Yeah, until people brought him tzitzis, and then he wore the new tzitzis. Or ramye, it means more. Until he put the new, he created the new tzitzis. He tied the new chut ad kedei kach. He was so careful with tzitzis. He didn't say, "Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get off the ladder, and then I'll quickly put the tzitzis." No, he actually made sure to tie the tzitzis and then went down. Now, v'amar Abaye, yeah, teisili the chichazina. Oh, now they're going to show Abaye was a Rosh Yeshiva, and he's coming to tell us how much he loved the Talmidei Chachomim. Teisili, my advantage, my mila is the chichazina tzuva merabonon. When I see a Talmid Chacham, the Shalim Masachte, that he's making no, I was wrong. I was going to say that he made the siyum. No, I saw Talmid Chacham that completed learning an entire Masechta. That's what he did. The Talmid Chacham, Avdi no Yom Tov L'Rabbanon. I, the Rosh Yeshiva, would make a Yom Tov to all the Talmidei Yeshiva, to all the Yeshiva Bochrim and all the Avrechim. In other words, Abai would personally make sure that Talmid Chacham gets a siyum, because he loved the Torah and loved the Talmidei Chachamim. So that was his mila of Abaye, love for Talmidei Chachamim, Talmidim. Amar Rove, says Rove. Now Rove was a dayan. Rove was a dayan in Mechoiza. Basically, my big thing is I'm going to get schar for the chi'as etzur b'marbon al kamoy ledina. When a Talmid Chacham comes to me ledin, let's say Talmid Chacham comes to din and facing who? Amoritz. Talmid Chacham versus Amoritz come to din. Loma zigna reisha beisadya. Sometimes it takes a few days, the court case. I don't allow my reisha, my head, to sleep, to lie on the pillow. I don't allow myself to sleep until I try to find more and more zchus. Yeah, ma'apach. And basically, sorry about the glitch, he loved the Talmidei Chachamim so much, them, their Torah, what they represent, he'd always try to find zchus for a Talmid Chacham. Apparently there's such a thing. A Talmid Chacham is probably right, more than Amoritz. You think it's unfair, right? That will be the next piece of Gemara. But the etzem, if you look just at Rov and the Talmid Chacham, his love for the Talmidei Chachamim made him try and find zchus for them. As that as of itself is a good midah to be a Talmidei Chachamim lover. Now, I'll read one more line to keep you happy. I passel the Talmid Chacham from coming to din to me. Which means, because I love Talmidei Chachamim so much, they're like me. So I never even see any wrong side in what they're doing. So I'm so biased to be pro Talmid Chacham that I passel the din. It sounds like, there's your answer, the Rava wasn't that much. Rava wasn't ad kedei kach, kilu it's mamish his children or himself. He was objective enough, to be the dayan. On the other hand, it's not being unfair, because Talmid Chacham is mistama more correct. He really figured out mistama there's something right. Let me give you an example. If you know that the Chazon Ish says something or the Sfasem says something, you don't understand it. You try to wreck your brain, mistama the right. That's what he's saying here. I'm not so much in love with them that I don't see anything wrong with them. That was the other one. That was Malbar Ravashi. Rava says, no, I am neutral. That is objectivity. I know that this is a big tzaddik Talmid Chacham. The other guy is not. Right? So mistama, there's something right. Talmid Chacham and a Chanami. He doesn't say he always found something right in them. Maybe in a Chanami Talmid Chacham lies, and then I'll pass it against him. Mashenk and Malbar Ravashi said, I'm so much in love with them. I just can't dan because it's kilo I'm danning myself. At two different levels. Kach nearly. That's why my little me, that's what if both are Talmidei Chachamim? Great. So he tries to find schus for both of them. That's as neged as b'milchama. Atzlocho v'rocho. Thank you very, very much.